Joining us this week for the Wednesday Bookmark is Judy Henderson. Judy was wrongfully convicted and spent over 3 decades in prison. Today, she shares her inspiring story as a prominent advocate for criminal justice reform and women's rights. We're going to talk this morning about her book. It's called When the Light Finds Us, From a Life Sentence to a Life Transformed. Judy, so appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Brock, for having me. I appreciate being here in Canada with you, even though I'm not there physically.
Judy, let's pick up your story at the point that you first met a man named Greg. What were
Yes.
your initial impressions of Greg? And at what point did you begin to see things that were, especially now in retrospect, red flags?
I met Greg. He was a professional business man. He was a real estate broker. He had been in the ministry at one time.
Hmm.
He wore a three-piece suit, very suave, debonair, very intelligent. And he was very kind to myself and my two children, which was totally different from the 12-year abusive marriage I had just been out of for 9 months.
Hmm.
Yes.
At what point did you start to see what you would view now in retrospect as red flags with Greg?
Well, now I look back and I see that where maybe, I should have paid attention whenever he was having dealings with people that I was not aware of, that he didn't introduce me to
Hmm.
until toward the end, closer to the incident, closer to the murder. So that was definitely a red flag, and him asking me to help him meet with this individual on a basis that I was not familiar with or that I did not know anything about till that moment.
Hmm. Yeah, let's move into that part of the story because one day Greg approached you with what initially seemed like it could be something of a harmless or a simple request anyway. He
Correct.
wanted to connect with a man named Harry about some sort of unresolved financial matter. As you say, you didn't really know what was going on.
Correct.
Take us through that story and what actually happened on the night that Greg confronted Harry.
Whenever this happened, he just told me, he said, nobody's going to get hurt. He said, I just want you to take him to an area where I can meet with him and chat with him, and everything will be fine. And it ended up not turning out like that. It
Hmm.
ended up where everybody saw my vehicle with personalized plates. Everybody saw me at a restaurant bar with this individual. Even though Greg was there when I walked up to him to ask him why he was here, and you want me to take him someplace else to meet with you, that should have been a red light, a
Yeah.
signal, a horn, something
Hmm.
that told me, this is something's off here. But it did not. Instead, he just said, get away from me, get away from me. And which I did, and I thought that rather odd. And then um, Harry followed me to where the designated area was, and that's whenever Greg got out of the car and shot him over the top of the car.
Gosh. Skipping forward to the trial itself, and I hate that we're rushing through this story, but there's so much here.
Right.
Even the judge, and I think people can even tell from what you just said, the judge himself or herself, sorry, I'm not sure if it was a male or a female, called you a relatively minor participant in the crime.
Correct.
Yet you were found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. How on earth did you wind up with such a hefty sentence?
I think it was just mitigating circumstances, circumstantial evidence. There was no actual physical evidence, but we had the same attorney represent both of us, which was a serious constitutional conflict of interest.
Mm.
Then, after I was convicted, he had been seeing two other criminal attorneys, and he fired that attorney that I used, and he hired the other two to represent him, and he was acquitted.
Wow. Did you feel as if you had been set up? Like,
Yes. The whole incident, now that I hindsight, I see where the whole incident, the whole crime scene, everything was set up to point to me and not to him. And then afterwards, then he put contracts out on me, afraid that I would testify against him in his trial.
wow. Many of us have never seen the inside of a prison cell, and yourself included,
Correct.
up until, prior to this crime, save maybe on TV or movies or something like that. Try to describe for us what daily life is like inside an American prison.
Well, to begin with, about the only emotion you feel is anger. There is so much anger there. And whenever I went in, it was like a foreign country. They had a different language. They had, were their behavior was different. Their rules, their standard operating procedures. This is what we had to live by was different. And just it was very controlling. It was very cruel. It was very mean. Even the officers would come and target you for no reason whatsoever. I was given a violation for bribing an officer, and years later, when she became a captain, she said, "I apologize for that, Judy, because I was just told that morning at roll call to do anything I could to write you up,
Mm,
even if it was false."
mm. You compare holding on to belief in prison to trying to grow flowers in concrete. You use that phrase in the book in the sense
Yes.
that it takes stubbornness, maybe a little bit of a miracle, even. How did your own personal faith develop and change over the course of the time that you were in prison?
Well, I always tell people that, the combination of I was just taken from the arms of my children, which was 12, 13 and 3 at the time. And my deep love for them and my connection with them, and I'm the oldest of 8 children, my love for my family and the way they stood beside me, that and the combination of anger is a good mix to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can either do two things with anger, get bitter or get better. I got better, but I used that anger and the love to fuel me to do what I needed to do to be sitting here with you today.
Mm. Wow. Just before Christmas 2017, the governor of Missouri personally pays you a visit to inform you of your release from prison after 36 years. You point out it's 13,149 days in prison, right?
Correct.
Crazy. I would encourage people to buy the book for a vivid and emotional recounting of that incredible day. I wish we had time to get into that, but you tell that story so well. Last
Thank you.
question, Judy. What do you think the takeaway lessons are from your admittedly highly unusual life for the rest of us? Like, what do you most want readers to walk away with from your story?
I want them to realize that no matter what place you're in, beauty can grow in the darkest of places.
Mm,
And it doesn't matter what your struggle is, you can find the courage and you can have the faith and you have the resilience and whatever you already need within you. You were given those, I believe, when you were created. You just have to learn how to find them, dig deep. Sometimes it's going to take a lot, but if you really want to move forward with your life, you have everything it takes to get there. You just have to believe in yourself.
I love that so much. And your incredible strength is so evident in this book. Obviously, we've just brushed over the story, but there's a lot more in the book. It really is quite something, your story. And I would encourage people to read the rest of it. Again, the book is called When the Light Finds Us, From a Life Sentence to a Life Transformed. Judy, so appreciate it. I really enjoyed the book. Thanks so much for writing it. And thanks for your time this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Brock.